Good evening everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, which are a one-stop solution for all your problems related to current affairs. We are going to talk about many important events today, so make sure that you remain engaged with the class till the very end. Do not worry about notes, it is provided through my Telegram channel, Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries, you can talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on my threads. These are the various events that we have to cover. The Press Council of India was set up in 1956, 87, 72, 66. Every year on 16th of November, we celebrate the Press Day, the National Press Day. And it is to honor the establishment of the Press Council of India. Actually, it was constituted on the 4th of July, but it started working on November 16th, 1966. And that is why November 16th, 1966 is going to be the correct answer, as in 1966. Very importantly, right now we are seeing the era of deep fakes. You know, the Prime Minister also took cognizance about his Garba video, which was constructed through a deep fake. I have already covered this in the Rashmika Mandana case. If you want to watch it, do watch it. So D is the correct answer. I have told you why is it celebrated. Themes can also be asked. So the current theme is rightly so very essentially it has been put out as media in the era of artificial intelligence. Moving on, the official Press Council of India was actually formed on the 4th of July, but it started operating on November 16, 1966. Moving on, with respect to the Worldwide Governance Index, consider the following statements. It is a project by the International Monetary Fund. Now, this is something that you have to be very clear about. Who has launched this project? What is the purpose of this project? And how is India faring in this project? So remember, it is a project by the International Monetary Fund. It plays a key role in deciding the sovereign credit rating of any country. Credit rating of a country is important. If a country has to include and allure as well as attract investments, it is important that it is doing good when it comes to the credit rating. And it depends on certain indicators. I will tell you about that as well. India's WGI score is much below the BBB median on all 6 indicators. So how many of the statements given above is or are correct? The Worldwide Governance Indicators, it is basically a project of the World Bank and not the IMF. So remember, it is a project of the World Bank. It basically ranks 215 countries as well as territories on 6 indicators. How many indicators? 6 indicators. Okay, here it is written 6. And India's WGI score is much below the BBB median on all 6 indicators. All of them? Yes, unfortunately, all of them. And it plays a key role in deciding the sovereign credit rating of any country. So first is definitely not correct. Second is correct. Third is correct. Here an extreme word has been used. Still, this is correct. 2 and 3 are correct. First is not. 2 will be the correct answer. The Chief Economic Advisor has said that because many sovereign credit rating agencies depend on the worldwide governance indicators, India's position is not really good. There is an over-reliance. There is a criticism of the worldwide governance indicators. That is, it is opaque and very complex. So it doesn't show the true picture of any country. This is what we believe. Moving on. The Worldwide Governance Indicators is a project by the World Bank, ranks 215 countries and territories on 6 indicators. Now another type of question that could be asked over here. I will give you the indicators and I will ask you how many of the above indicators are considered by the Worldwide Governance Indicators. Okay, so you have to remember these as well. Sometimes students do ask, do we really need to remember this? Yes, I'm sorry, but you do. Unfortunately, you have to have a huge brain capacity, information carrying capacity. Then only you will be able to understand prelims, because prelims is really becoming more and more complicated. In the sense, I'm not trying to dissuade you. I'm trying to tell you that be prepared from the very beginning. I do not want you to feel like I have read this, but instead of reading, I still do not have the ability to do this question. So why you are not doing any question? Because you have not molded your mind accordingly. And that is why the daily current affairs are important. So voice and accountability, political stability and absence of violence, terrorism. government effectiveness, regulatory quality, rule of law, and control of corruption. These are the 6 indicators. It plays a key role in deciding the sovereign credit rating of any country. India is losing its sovereign credit rating due to low scores in the WGI parameter, is much below the BBB median on all 6 indicators. If I have to go from top to bottom, India will fall below the middle. This is the situation of India. Moving on, consider the following statements. In 2018, the SC, that is the Supreme Court, struck down a colonial era law that made adultery punishable. Now, what do we have to keep in mind over here? The year and this particular, these certain phrases we have to keep in mind. The year and the phrase made adultery punishable. Okay. Section 497 of the IPC commands married couple to remain loyal to each other. There is a command. Okay. According to section 198 clause 2 of the CRPC, the husband alone could complain against adultery but not the wife. So how many statements given above is or are not correct? Section 497 of the Indian Penal Code that spoke about adultery as an offence, as a criminal offence, was struck down by the Supreme Court in the year 2018. And before that, section 497 of the code commands the married couple to remain loyal to each other. Now, if a man catches his wife with some adulterous situation or conducting adultery is having an affair outside marriage, then the man can actually sue the lover of the wife. But if a woman catches a man in a similar fashion for a similar crime, then the wife cannot approach to the court. This was earlier, and this is according to section 198 clause 2. So this is something that was not gender neutral. Right now, it has been said by a committee which was instituted by the Ministry of Home Affairs that adultery should be made a part of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. The problem is, it was struck down earlier. It can be challenged again. But there are certain resolutions which the committee has said about. We will talk about that as well. First is correct, second is correct, third is also correct, not correct, none are not correct because all are correct. The Parliamentary Committee on Home Affairs has suggested that adultery be reinstituted as a crime in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Now the thing is that adultery can be a ground for divorce, but it is not a criminal offence. That was what changed. The SC removed the provisions of the IPC and the CRPC which considered adultery an offence. And according to section 497 of the IPC, a man had the right to initiate criminal proceedings against his wife's lover. And according to section 198 clause 2 of the CRPC, the husband alone could complain against that. Moving on. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is actually replacing the Indian Penal Code, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, the CRPC, and the Bharatiya Sakshya Bill, the Indian Evidence Act. We have covered the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita in detail. If you want to watch it, it is available on StudyIQ IAS English. As soon as it came, we ensured that we covered it, and we did. So right now, considerations are going on until and unless these come into effect. IPC, CRPC, they will be there. Okay, moving on. The institution of marriage, according to the Parliamentary Committee, is sacrosanct in nature, it's sacred, and it's necessary to safeguard its sanctity. Marriage as an institution in our country, in India, is of immense cultural importance and social importance. And that is why this is the rationale behind it. Adultery should be reinstated as a criminal offence, but it should be made gender neutral. That means both men and women could be punished for committing it, and not only, a lover of the woman. Okay, moving on. Reinstated, there are certain problems, of course. Reinstating section 497 actually violates right to equality, right against discrimination, and right to life with dignity, right? Liberty and life with dignity, because if it is made a criminal offence, then the private matters of a couple could come into public, and that is very damaging to their privacy and the institution of marriage as well. With respect to the Chardham Mahamarg Vikas Pariyojna, choose the incorrect statement. It was started in 2016 and is now nearing completion. It is implemented by the 3 executing agencies of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway. Slope destabilization is one of the red flags of the project. The entire length of the highways will be 3-laned with paved shoulders. So what do we see? Yes, it was started in 2016. Now it is nearing completion. The basic aim is to connect many important pilgrimage sites for Hindus. For Hinduism, there are important pilgrimage sites, the Chardham, for that. But other than this project is of strategic significance because it is going to connect infrastructure that is on the border of India and China. We all know what can happen with China. If any issue arises with respect to our sovereignty and territorial integrity, Chardham Pariyojna will help us. And it is implemented by the 3 executing agencies under the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway. There are certain red flags considering the seismicity, the geological situation in the mountains, specifically the Himalayas, which are made up of sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. It is really hard to ensure that the debris is not going to pose challenges. And because these regions are not stable in nature, accordingly, slope destabilization can happen. That is one of the criticisms. The entire length of the highway will be 2-laned, not 3-laned. So these are the certain things that we have to keep in mind. Even the slightest of the things can be distorted by the UPSC. So we are not going to fall into the trap. We are going to ensure that we train our mind to look at the slightest of the distortion. Alright, so D is going to be the correct answer. The Silkyara tunnel is located on the Yamunotri National Highway in Uttarkashi. Now, we all know that this tunnel is undergoing rescue operation. 7th day has been entered. On the day of Diwali, this really unfortunate news came that 40 labours are stuck due to a collapse near the Silkyara tunnel. Where did it happen actually? It happened 270 meters just from the entrance of the Silkyara tunnel. Why this tunnel is important? Because it is going to reduce the journey between Uttarkashi and Yamunotri by 26 kilometers and it is a part of the Chardham all-weather road project. Moving on, if I talk about what is going on right now, trenchless tunneling, because right now whatever procedures we are undertaking to ensure the rescue of the 40 labours who are stuck there, it's really hard. I cannot even imagine, and my prayers are with them. But the current situation is really grim. We do not know, labours are complaining about nausea. So drilling machines are coming, but trenchless tunneling is being done, which is going to ensure that as soon as possible, without disturbing the regions. Because one of the most disturbing factors here is, whenever we are trying to get in, boulders and loose boulders are falling down, which is causing trouble for us to get inside. And now what is happening? Trench will be made so that mild steel pipes, big steel pipes can be entered through which the labours can cross over. But the problem is we are not able to drill inside. This is the issue. Chardham Mahamarg Vikas Pariyojna seeks to improve connectivity between 4 pilgrimage sites, Kedarnath, Badrinath, Yamunotri and Gangotri in Uttarakhand. It started in 2016. The entire length of the highway will be a 2-laned with paved shoulders. It focuses on widening of the existing road. Whatever roads are there, we are going to widen it. It is implemented by the 3 executing agencies of Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, Uttarakhand State Public Work Department, Border Road Organization, National Highway and Infrastructure Development Corporation. Yes, you have to remember the names because the names can also be asked. Moving on. Slope destabilization, geologically fragile region, seismically active region. Yes, these are the 3 important red flags of the project. Windfall tax, recently seen in the news, means what? Higher tax on profits that result from a sudden windfall gain to a company. Taxes put on giffen goods or non-luxury goods. Taxes put on commodities which are imported in bulk from different countries. Taxes put on unsustainable products to support climate change mitigation strategy. The correct answer is higher tax on profit that result from a sudden windfall gain. Now this is a temporary intervention that is done by the Government of India. And the Government of India has recently cut windfall tax on diesel and crude oil. Sometimes what happens, a company profits all of a sudden as soon as prices go up for a commodity. It is very easy for the manufacturers and the sellers of that product to get a lot of profit, and this is very injurious to the economic situation of the country, harmful to the economic situation, because it can lead to price shocks, and that is why this windfall tax is put, so that it can be, the profits can also be passed on to the consumers. So a windfall tax is a higher tax on profits that result from a sudden windfall gain to a company. Whenever the price of a commodity rises dramatically and an unanticipated increase is there. Why is it done? The objective to redistribute excess profit from the sudden windfall to benefit to the wider community. It is levied for a temporary period. Once the situation is normal, it can be removed. Mitra Shakti exercise is a bilateral exercise between India and the correct answer to this question is option A, Sri Lanka. It is being conducted in Pune, India. It is conducted alternatively. Sometimes, 1 year it will be conducted in Sri Lanka, in the other year to that it will be conducted in India, like this. And the 9th edition is being conducted, remember. Which edition? 9th edition. And this edition is important because recently the air forces of the two countries are also a part of it. This has made it the first bilateral and bi-service exercise between the two countries, India and Sri Lanka. It is a joint military exercise. Alright. Now you have the practice question to answer in the comment segment. Consider the following countries. These are the given countries and you have to answer how many of the above countries are a part of the APEC. Okay. And let me take the names of those students who have answered my last question correctly so that you can answer this one as well. D was the correct answer. 1966. Here. So how many of you have answered it correctly? Riya, Mansi, Shruti, Komal, Yashwant, Shantanu, Arcane, Selva, Pragati, it's 1966. Nanda, Gopesh, Swati, Rashika, Kaushik, Anshika, Bijay, Padmashri, Satish, Unnati, Kanika, Ritu, Siddharth, Manish, thank you Abul, Shafik, APEC and IPEC. Okay, I will do that. Prashant, Vaishali, thank you so much. Suresh, Abhishek, Raghuveer, Abhijit. Please answer this question as well. I will see you soon in the next class. Stay updated.